that, and I was getting a lot of satisfaction. One thing I was afraid was my visions tend to come true. And then I was afraid of me, not him. And then that's when I looked at my baby child. What has she done to deserve this? Her dad will be dead by her mother, and her mother will be in jail, and she will be left or her. I cannot. That's not her fault. So the solution I found was, let me join the U.S. Army to take me away from him. Then maybe I can leave him safely. So that's when I decided to sign up for the U.S. Army. And then I didn't have anyone to take care of my baby, married. So I decided to send her to Korea to my parents. And I didn't have money and time to take her to Korea, so I found someone I knew was going to Korea through LA. We were living in Seattle. So I asked them to take my daughter to my parents in Korea. Just 2 nights before the days we're supposed to meet, I was sleeping and I had such an amazing, terrifying pain in my stomach. And I woke up and it was dark, but I saw blood on my clothes, on my blankets. And I was shocked and found out that I was already pregnant again. I didn't realize that. And to join the U.S. Army, you had to take a lot of shots, and they were all viruses. And that I survived, but my baby, new baby was killed. But I was so kind of weak and devastated. But if I don't keep the words to take my daughter to LA and send her to Korea, I'm violating the contract with the government. So I packed the milk and the clothes and the blankets and took her to LA, and we flew. That was the first time in life she was on the plane, and I was holding her because I don't know when I will see her, of course. And she would be in a totally different environment without knowing why. And I was holding her really tightly, and she was just enjoying the ride and smiling and laughing, and then she fell asleep. And when we went to LA, I was trying to turn her over to my friends, and my daughter woke up and she looked at them, and she knows her mom's face. She refused to go to them. And we had to kind of force her to go there, but she was screaming, and I couldn't just let her go, and my heart was hurting so bad. So I held her and gave her milk, and I sang songs, I always sang for her when she sleeps. So I did that, and she fell asleep, feeling that she's safe. Then when she was sleeping, I turned her over to them, and she was just, leaning her head on her shoulder, and disappeared into the plane, and the plane took off. When I heard she didn't cry even once. She woke up on the plane, but she looked around and looking for somebody, and there was everybody, a stranger, and she just, tears rolled down, but she couldn't, cry out loud because she was so scared. See, my parents, they are her grandparents, but she doesn't know that. They are also stranger again, and then she refused to go to them. But later on, interestingly, 3 of them became the most close best friends. And when my father, he passed away when he was 69, he had a lung cancer, and we didn't know he had a lung cancer. He was a heavy smoker, and then he was acting very strangely lately. So we took him to the hospital and found out it was the end of the lung cancer, and he would die very shortly. So my mom rushed. We were living in Monterey at the time, and my mom rushed to take him back to Korea, to bury him in Korea. And I was telling Barbara about describing my mom and my dad. My mom was a little bit heavy-side, because she was running the cafe and she wanted to sell as much alcohol as possible. So she was drinking a lot with the customers, and that got her really heavy side. And my father was so skin and bones, and just looking at him, feels kind of sorry for him. And then when they got my daughter, and they were just all three of them were crying out loud, and my father was crying most of all because of this little baby without her fault, had to come to Korea over the ocean, and there's a young woman, young daughter, and she's trying to survive on her own, missing her child, and then going through the military training. And it's kind of another hell she has to go through. And they felt so sorry for me, and they were crying. And but when my father was dying, and my daughter was middle school by then, a second, sophomore in the middle school. So she took off from the school and helped my parents to fly to Korea. And while they were in Korea, my father, I called them to find out what's going on, how he is, and then God works kind of amazing way. He gives God gave him just one moment, so that soberly said goodbye to his children and his loved ones. And when I called him, he was totally sober, and he's all bright, and he knows what he was saying. And he said, "I am so sorry that I caused you so much pain. I will work on it. I will be cured, and I will be there and to help you or whatever I can help." And then he passed away after 3 days after that. And in the hospital, in the room, my mother just stepped out to the restroom, and my daughter was watching, and he died right in her arm, my daughter's arm. And one day at home, I heard somebody crying, and in America she came back, and I heard her crying, and then I knocked on her, and then looked inside, and she was listening to a tape recorder, and it had my father's voice in it, and he was speaking to her. "I love you so much, and do whatever best you can with your life, and help your mom." And he was saying that, and she was listening to him crying. I am so happy that she had a chance to record his voice, because that's the only voice left for us to listen to whenever we miss his voice. But anyway, the army training was really hard, and it was kind of hell, because I had my daughter 8 months earlier, and my stomach was out here, and just settled down, and I had a miscarriage, and physically I wasn't ready, and mentally I wasn't ready either. But when they were yelling us, the instructors were yelling us to do it right, and I didn't understand them, because in college they tell you in normal language, but in the military they just use whatever dialect they have, and they rush you. And if you're not ready, they don't want to select you as a soldier. So instructors were following me and yelling at me, and I couldn't do even one sit-up, and I couldn't do much push-ups, and I couldn't run with them. And this was a female in a woman's army corps, but I was 10 years older than the rest of the people, and I was the smallest among the group. And the language they were using, like if you were marching and then left turn, march, then I used to miss my steps anyway. But left turn, march, and then at the step you turn and move on. But I missed my steps, but he doesn't say, they don't say, "Left turn, march!" Then I can understand. They would say, "Ha ha ha!" What? I'm going to opposite direction, and I turn around and catch up, but the problem was the instructor already saw. We have a group training at the same time, group punishment. If one person makes a mistake, everybody gets punished. So people who were trainees will start disliking me, because this old woman, I wish she would quit and she would leave us alone. Because of her, this training is hard enough, and she's causing us to be punished every few minutes. So they start disliking me, and I'm so all alone, and I'm not sure whether I can make it, and all my mind is in Korea, and worrying about my baby. And Then one day, I heard me speaking to me, rise up, Jin. What the heck are you doing? What did you go through all this trouble for? You gonna give up here? What about your daughter's future? Get up, wake up. And what about those people who are looking down upon you? Are you gonna give them the satisfaction? No, rise up. So it kind of, I start rising up again, and I was thinking, you can work hard, but if you don't work smart, then you don't get that much results, as Eileen said.
Being here and helped so much to organize this.
Thank you.
Our speakers who were great, and all the other future speakers that are in the room. Thank you guys for coming. There we go. Go down. Okay.